People continue to believe that heel striking is always bad, that it causes braking forces and reduces running economy, that you should aim for a forefoot or perhaps a midfoot landing when you're doing long distance running, and that all elite runners land on their forefoot or maybe midfoot. So why am I making another video where I once again say that this persistent myth is completely untrue? Well, first of all, to continue the fight for truth, but also so that you have a video to send to your fast running buddies who insist on living in their forefoot bubble. And because I met a lot of runners who have suffered long-term running injuries when trying to become forefoot runners. It's time for yet another episode of myth busting about running technique with me, Fredrik Zillen, your running technique specialist, who is as important to your running as burning guitars were to Jimi Hendrix. Hello and welcome. My name is, as I said, Fredrik Zillen, and I have helped thousands of runners to run in a more energy efficient way so that they can run faster and longer without using more energy, while also reducing the risk of injury. I have worked with everyone from complete beginners to Olympic runners, and since 2014 I have conducted around 10,000 tests using my 3D cameras to measure runners' efficiency. So, today's topic is something I still hear a lot, that running on your forefoot is way better than landing on your heel. Since landing on your heel just increases braking forces, it increases the risk of injury, and is generally bad in a bunch of other ways. But let's check out what's really going on, and let's start from the beginning. Before 2009, barely no one talked about which part of the foot that should touch the ground first when running. Well, at least not outside more serious running circles. But then came the book Born to Run. And there the author claimed that a forefoot landing is completely superior. And then the ball started rolling. As is so often the case when a truth is spread. It continues to spread for the simple reason that many people say the same thing. Even when I ask ChatGPT what characterizes an efficient running technique, I get the answer that heel striking is bad and increases the risk of injury. ChatGPT doesn't care that there are studies showing that it doesn't reduce efficiency or increases running injuries, because it repeats what many people say, not necessarily what is true. And by the way, I made a video about what ChatGPT considers to be good running technique. And I'm not very nice to the AI robot. You can find it on my channel or just click in the link I included in the description below. But can we agree that if it is true that heel striking is bad, then the best runners in the world should land on their forefoot or midfoot, not on their heel? It's simple logic. If no archer in the Olympics have their eyes closed when competing, we can probably assume that closed eyes is less efficient than, well, not closing them and looking at the target. So let's take a look at some statistics. This is one of the 4 measuring stations set up by World Athletics during the World Championship in London in 2017. And as you can see, 3% of the women and 3% of the men put their forefoot down first. About 70% put their heel down first, and the rest is midfoot. And if we take a look at what it looked like for the top 4 male runners in this World Championship, we can see that they landed heel first every time this was checked. Now, there's probably someone who hears this who thinks that they could possibly have run even faster if they had been midfoot or forefoot runners. But seriously, if it's good enough to win the World Championships, it can't be that bad. The margins at the highest elite levels are too small. And let's look at some videos and pictures too. This is what Brigitte Kosgei looked when she broke the world marathon record. And there's no doubt about it, she puts down her heel first. Brigitte Kosgei is a heel striker. And this is a sequence from the marathon competitions at the 2024 Olympics in Paris, which I previously made a video about. Here you can see that it varies greatly, and that is definitely not the case that all good runners have a forefoot or a midfoot strike. But Eliud Kipchoge, the only person who has run a marathon under 2 hours, lands more on his forefoot. And here no one is heel striking, midfoot and forefoot landings only. And the same goes for Sifan Hassan and several other superstars in running. But in this video, Kenenisa Bekele puts his heel down first. And here is another world champion heel striker. And like Mustafa Mohamed, who is the 2:10 marathoner who holds the Swedish record in 3,000-meter steeplechase. You see, it's not as simple as saying that all good runners are forefoot or midfoot strikers. When people argue that landing on the heel is bad, it's usually mentioned that it's bad because you land too far in front of the body, a so-called overstride. And that is true. You shouldn't land so much in front of you to have this overstride. And if you reach out with your leg in front of you, it's easy to put your heel down first. But what often happens when runners try to run more on their forefoot or midfoot just because someone told them, it's just that they angle their feet down at the ankle and land like this. And this is even further in front of their hip, their center of mass, than this. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not saying that you have to put your heel down first or the landing doesn't matter at all, and it's bad to run more on your forefoot and midfoot. That is not what I'm saying. I myself run almost exclusively on my forefoot. But if runners who break world records win world championships, and the vast majority, 97% of the marathon runners in that 2017 World Championship, didn't put their forefoot down first, it may not be a 100% must when running those distances. It's far more important where you land in relation to your body, your hip, all the different joint angles, how it moves just before it hits the ground, how you load your foot, and a lot of other things than exactly which part of your foot, your shoe, that touches the ground first. And remember, this is how landing is defined according to World Athletics. It's all about what part of the shoe that touches the ground first. It has nothing to do with how and where you apply the force to your foot, and it's possible to put your heel down first and still have most of your weight on your forefoot, if you want to. And that is especially when running a bit faster, which all of the runners in the examples I have showed you did. Because the faster you run, the further in front of your body it's okay to put your foot down. But forget about the truth that all good runners always land midfoot or forefoot, because the statistics show that that is a myth. And now don't forget to send this video to your fast friends who told you that you need to run more on your forefoot. And don't forget to check out my online course, The Art of Efficient Running Technique, which you can find at fredrikzillen.com. And if you don't want the Swedish version, of course, because that's at fredrikzillenonline.se. And you find all the information about those in the description below. And that's it for today.